Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Godzilla podcast. My apologies for the delay on the news for anything related within the Godzilla world. I've just been catching up on some things, and then every now and then it's just slow in the Godzilla world, and then boom, all of these things come at once. So I have some updates here on stuff that's happened these past few days, not only for the Godzilla 2 movie, the Godzilla King of the Monsters, but also the upcoming Godzilla Netflix film, the anime one that'll be released sometime later this year. But yes, first off, let's go ahead and let's talk about the info on Godzilla King of the Monsters. Two new images have been released straight from the director, Mike Dougherty. He has been kind enough to showcase every now and then pictures related to this sequel. You'll find them first on my Facebook page. Again, I can't really post that stuff here only because Legendary Pictures, Warner Brothers, Toho Studios, they're just so strict on this stuff. Those of you that have been fans of my channel for years know how hardcore they are. They flag my videos for showing this stuff even if they are official. So I now post them there on my Facebook page. But one of them has to do with something that he titled Last Day, which was essentially the last day of filming. And then a second picture showcases a wrap-up party picture. So let's talk about those. But you'll find a link below so that way you can see the same information at the same time. The one involving the last day, that one is interesting because essentially it's a shot of his workplace, presumably on the last day of shooting. There's some monitors in the background, and then there's like a makeshift desk that was being used, it looks like, by him during that last day. On that desk, so there's some interesting stuff that stands out. For starters, there's a hat for the USS Scorpion, which is actually a real-life submarine that was lost back in the late 1960s. It disappeared, but then it was found afterward deep in the ocean, essentially crashed on the bottom of the ocean. To this day, though, it remains mysterious as to what happened to this submarine, including several theories about a missile blowing up within the submarine or a missile launching itself by accident and then tracking the closest thing to it to explode, which was, in essence, the USS Scorpion, and then also other things involving maybe even attacks by the Russians or something else outright happening, even something as complex as, in this case, a garbage disposal malfunctioning. All those theories, nothing in terms of anything being concrete, though. But how does this USS Scorpion hat then play a role within the film? Because will they tie that incident, in other words, to something happening within the film? That's up to debate. It'll be interesting to see if they do so. It's not the first time, though, that a movie has done something like that. Look at the X-Men First Class film, and you'll see that the Cuban Missile Crisis was tied into that film, making it, in essence, a fight between mutants and humanity, and then mutants between other mutants as well, but covering it up as something else completely different. At least the film did on that storyline. So makes you wonder if this film will do something as well. And then also on that desk there is a coffee cup showcasing the Monarch logo. Monarch, of course, being the organization that is tying all these films together. They've already clearly made their appearance in the first Godzilla film, made an even more broad appearance on the King Kong film, so no doubt they'll have probably a bigger, if not same type of appearance here. But yes, that is the picture that's called Last Day. And then the other one that got a lot of people excited was the one that was called That's a Wrap. Essentially, it's a picture from a wrap-up party that the film had after everything was finished in terms of filming. The movie companies, movie studios, they tend to do these things after everything is finished. They have a huge wrap-up party, kind of like as a nice thank you to all the actors, actresses, film crew, everybody within that place, so that way they can all celebrate and then hopefully get back together later on for yet another movie. But what excites people on this image, and again you'll see it there on my Facebook page, is that there's 3 projected images onto a wall showcasing, in this case, some of the kaiju within the film. And interestingly enough, these are actually from carvings from a pumpkin. So somebody very talented carved all this within a pumpkin and then shined the light into the pumpkin and then created these shadow-like images onto the wall. One of them is, of course, Godzilla, as we know him, and then the other two, one of them is Mothra, and then the other one is King Ghidorah. Now, before you get excited and think to yourself, oh, is this how they're going to look within the film? Immediately I saw that these are images from past films. So I don't think these are going to be essentially the images of how they look like in this new film. Instead, they're just simply utilizing past images. No way, in other words, that they would be releasing a year and a half early official images or how they will look like from the film itself. So if you're wondering if that's how King Ghidorah is going to look, no, but most likely it'll be something different, close to it, but more modernized, more realistic, more movie-like, as opposed to the image you see there. Same with Mothra as well. So, but at least that got people a little buzzed up with regards to the Godzilla 2 movie. But it's officially over. Everything has wrapped. I'll probably do some more filming afterward, after initial screenings are done, test screenings. That always happens where people are gathered around, and then there's an initial rough cut presented, and people give their thoughts, and then they decide afterwards, should we add more scenes, cut more scenes. If there are more scenes added afterward, that's not a bad thing. That just means stuff needs to be filled in generally, or stuff needs to be redone outright. And so that tends to make the film even better. So don't be alarmed if you hear later on that more filming is going to be done. All the good films always have those done, so it just makes the film a much better production. But yes, that's all the info, at least on the Godzilla King of the Monsters film. Now, as far as the other film, the one coming up on Netflix, that Godzilla Anime, the big news on that one is there's going to be a prequel novel that'll be released sometime with the release of the film, but it's only going to be in Japan, and it's going to be on October 25th. So apparently there, if you're lucky enough to be in that area, you're going to have access to this prequel novel, and it'll be featuring stuff related obviously from the film, but it seems like it'll be made more as a documentary style, because apparently that prequel novel will feature quote-unquote testimonies from everyone that was within that imaginary world. So it'll have testimonies from soldiers there on the front lines, from the main officers in the army, those that led them, from scientists in that area, from normal modern day citizens, even young children. Apparently they're all going to give their own recollection of that incident from the film or from stuff earlier in the film itself. Pretty interesting when you think about it. It's almost going to be like a Cloverfield type aspect, where you're going to see a first person perspective in your head as you're reading this information from these characters and what happened to them throughout various parts of this film. No word yet though if any of that is going to be in here in the US side. Most likely not. I don't see that happening. Plus I imagine because it's being released in Japan that it's going to be in a foreign language. So unless someone is going to be kind enough to essentially take that information and translate it to English, then it's going to be pretty hard to read that information afterward. But fingers crossed, hopefully if it's a success, we'll have something like this here. I totally see it this happening only in Japan too, because there's this phenomenon there that's really interesting. There's novels that are created just for the cell phone, just for the smartphones there. Pretty interesting when you think about it. Like here in the US, novels will get released both on paper format and then on Kindle, and then every now and then like an audiobook as well. But there in Japan, they have exclusive novels just for the cell phone, like they're made just for those, especially in some cases for the flip phones. So if you can believe that, pretty interesting stuff. I was reading about that a couple of months back, and it was very surprising to find out. So and the reason why is because these novels are not really novels, like 300-page novels, but rather they are more shortened, they are more geared created for the phone and the functions of a phone, as opposed to, let's say, something involving a a regular book. So I wonder if this is going to follow the same guidelines afterward. But yes, at least that is that information for the upcoming Godzilla anime. But that's it. That's everything tied as far as recent news in the Godzilla world. What do you guys think? Have you seen those pictures yet from the director of the Godzilla King of the Monsters? What do you think about those teasing aspects of that last day photo? And then also, what do you guys think about the prequel novel that will be released later on, tying into the big Netflix film? So, alright, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.